Thank you for joining me. Today we are doing another Takeaway Tuesday, and my name is Tina Gavergich. Don't worry if you can't say that name, just remember Northern Stamper. If you need to reach me at any time, just drop me an email at northernstamper@gmail.com. This month we are continuing on with our designer series paper, and you can find that in the catalog on page 128 all the way through to a 131. Oh my goodness, going a little further, all the way to 133. I just love the designer series paper. It is so, you know what, in the catalog you see it, but it always is always so much better in person. Today what we will be using is actually this really fun set called Bright and Beautiful. It comes in a pack of 6x6 and is $17, and you get 48 sheets. This package is a lot of fun. Great for birthdays. I've made a whole bunch of different ones, and they are all a lot of fun. There's stars and a couple of stripes and some little bubbles there. A lot of fun. So if you have any questions and you want to make cards with designer series paper, this is a great card to make that you are going to follow along. As I said, my name is Tina Gavergich, northernstamper@gmail.com. If you want to reach me, you want to get a catalog, just drop me an email. If you live in Canada, I'm a Canadian independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I wanted to show you, before I get started with this card, I wanted to show you another card I made with just using the designer series paper. So this is a really nice paper. It is the blue papers, and it is called, let me just get that out, I don't want to get it wrong. It is called Countryside Inn. And this is a beautiful, beautiful blue color. And what I did, you can barely see the sentiment. I really tucked it in there. I embossed the Misty Moonlight cardstock, and then cut some pieces and added these little cute little critters. They are in the paper. Very, very cute. You can do so much with designer series paper. And hopefully the last couple of weeks you've been following along and making some cards with us. So let's get started creating some cards. Today we have our card base. This is just a regular card base, and I have that folded in half right there. Okay. What we want to do is I need to get a piece of scrap paper, and what we're going to do is we're going to do some work on that. So I'm just going to use this piece of white, and we are going to cut it 4 inches by 5 1/4. So you want to do that 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to write that on here so that you know 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now this is just our base. You won't see any of this, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we're going to cut that out, and we're going to do all of our work on that. Okay, so we want to make sure that that has a nice base on it, such as we can see all of the cardstock around. So it has a nice frame. So that's the size that we want. What we're going to do is we are going to get started. And what I'm going to do is actually, these are about 6 inches long and by 1 inch. And you're not going to use all of these. I'm going to use this one on the side here. So, because I like this design, you can use whichever one you want, but I'm going to hold this one off to the side, and I want it vertical. The other ones, what I'm going to do is actually lay them in an angle pattern, and I'm going to kind of mix and match them. There we go. And don't forget to turn them over to see what's on the other side, because you never know what's on the other side that you might like. So I'm just going to add these in, and I want to make sure that it reaches to at least this area where this card will be. Okay, so I'm going to make a little mark on there. So I know it needs to go at least that far over. So I'm going to slide it all the way over, and I'm just going to build a pattern on that. See, this one didn't go all the way over, so we're going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going up and down on that paper. Okay, There we go. I'm just going to lay these down, and then I can change them as I go along, flip them over, just double check. And I get closer to the top, I'm not going to be using as much. What I cut off, I can use further down. And that little piece there I can add. So maybe I'll move this around. There we go. Let's do that. Again, bring it all the way down and all the way across. So I think I kind of, let's see, maybe these ones. Yeah, I think I kind of like that pattern the way it is. And you'll see there are two little corners that don't have anything, but that's okay. I can fill that up. So I'm just going to hold these off, bring this back over. I'm going to take out the card base because I need to do cutting on this. And all I'm going to do is add my adhesive all the way around in the corners. Some of you already made cards like this before. It is a lot of fun. And again, like I said, just to that line and on an angle. So doesn't matter which way it goes, but just make sure that it gets right butt up against itself. Actually, you know what? Oops. So it doesn't. I'm going to bring it started up here a little bit so that it completely goes on. So let's see if we can pull this easily up. All right. Okay, there we go. Again, on an angle, overlapping that corner. There we go. And I'm going to keep working my way down. Overlap on an angle. I'm going to keep going. Now there will be another piece of cardstock that kind of like a little mat that I'm going to use, but I want to make sure I get it all the way across first. So we're going to do that. So I just keep working it all the way across and down. Now as I get further down, see I still have this area, but it's all overhanging. What I can do is flip this over. Aren't those great colors on the other side? Oh my gosh. And there we go. I'm just going to snip that across. And I'm actually going to use my trimmer to straighten that long piece out. So I'm just going to take just a smidgen off. There we go. Just a smidgen so it's nice and straight. And I'm going to continue on with those pieces. Can I do the star one? Do I want to do that? Oh, you know, I like that pink one. I'm going to add that in. And it brings it right down. And oh my goodness, there's a little piece. If I really, really want, let's see what we're going to add. I kind of, I'm going to add a little piece of blue. You know, I'm just going to overlap it a little bit. Okay, on the same angle, and then I'm going to glue it down. So again, we're going to flip it over and just trim it up. There we go. There we go. So there's that one piece. In your package, you'll notice that there's a piece of Boho Blue cardstock, and that will overlap it. See how it tucks in right behind there? Looking really nice. Now I'm going to take this other piece. Now it should leave a bit of an edge. So I'm going to put that on, and you see there's an edge. Okay. Now if you want a thicker edge or a thinner edge, it's up to you. You can like move it over and then just cut off the excess. I like the thinner edge, so what I'm going to do is actually glue this down and going to put that edge on all the way to the top and bottom. Okay. Snip off what's excess. And I'm going to add it, and anything overhanging, I'm going to just cut off, which is the blue. So I'm going to put that on. Okay. And you see it's overhanging. And I know that this has to be 4 inches. So I'm just going to cut off the excess, which is 4 inches. Oh, why is that crooked? Okay. Well, we will have to fix that. All right. Gonna lift that up a little bit, and we will just reposition that. Sometimes that happens. That's okay. There we go. All right, there we go. Oh, again. Okay, maybe I had cut it in on an angle before, but you know what? When I place it on the card, you won't notice it that much. Okay, so I have this all set up like that. I love the different colors on this, and I think it's very festive. So I'm just going to add this to the card base. All right, add that to the card base. There we go. Now I want to finish it up. In your package, there are a couple of circles there, and they will sit on top of each other, but I want to add a little bit of a stamp set in there. Now, circle sayings, I am having a great time with this. So I love this circle sayings. I've been getting a lot of mileage out of this, especially this little super duper cute cupcake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that cupcake. I'm going to stamp that on a piece of scrap paper, but I am also going to add the sentiment in here. It says happy birthday, so there's one here that says happy birthday, and I'm going to use that one. Wait till you see what I'm going to do with this. I love this idea. So I'm going to stamp it in Memento black ink, and I'm going to offset it off to the top right area. So let's ink that up, and I'm going to stamp that, okay, in Memento black. Now in this stamp set, there's these little lines or sun or whatever it is. We are actually going to use that on this image. And what I want to do is I'm going to pick up some of the colors that are in the paper and use it on here. So what I want to do is I'm going to try and pick up some bright, vivid colors, and I'm going to use Berry Burst, and I'm going to ink it up. Now it's very juicy, so hopefully this will turn out. Going to ink it. Oh my goodness, look at that, looking great. I'm going to ink it from the top and the bottom. Okay, and that kind of gives it a bit of like a bright image, but I want to add a little bit more color, and I'm going to be cleaning this stamp in between, so because I want to use it again. So I got my Stampin' Scrub. I don't go anywhere without it. I love the Stampin' Scrub. I don't know, some people like this, the chamois, but I love the scrub because it gets in between each little piece, and you know what, honestly, it's really not that expensive, and I use it so much. It's like a total workhorse for me. So I'm going to fill in some area with this cute bubble bath. I don't know where they come up with these names. I'd like to be the type of person that sits around the table and comes up with names. So I'm just going to stamp and stamp, and I'm going off the little grid, so I'm going to turn it a little bit so that it has some image there. Now the bubble bath is a little light pink, but you know what, it really does add quite a nice shade behind that Berry Burst. Okay, so loving that. What I want to do now is I'm going to stamp that little cupcake. Remember that super duper cupcake? I'm going to stamp a little image of that cupcake in Memento Black because I'm going to use my favorite items, which are, comment below if you know what my favorite items are in the catalog, which we will be using. Okay. All right. Does anybody know what my favorite item is? Okay. So I'm just going to cut this guy out. Fussy cut this guy. So it's very simple. This always makes me think of having a cupcake or a coffee and tea afterwards. Right? Going to cut that little guy out. And we are going to use, yes, you're right, my favorite Stampin' Blends. So I'm just going to grab a couple of colors. I don't know which ones these are. I've just grabbed a whole handful. So I'm going to use some of the dark color as accents. I'm not doing a lot. And then I'm going to pick up with a lighter color. Now these are completely different colors. That first one was, what is it called? Moody Mauve. Now this is the bubble bath I am using. So I'm using the two different colors, and if you color within the certain time before the ink dries out, you can mix the colors and they look actually quite nice together. So look at that. The mauve and the bubble bath turned out really nice. Let's see, what color is this? Let's make our little cake. Oh, look, it's going to be chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake, but then you know what? I love any kind of cake, so it doesn't matter. And I'm going to add in some blue for the bottom of the cupcake. So let's see what we got here. Okay, I got dark boho blue. I'm going to add a couple of lines. Right? There we go. Pretty simple. Make sure you snap those lids on really tight, because if you don't, they will dry out. Okay, so I'm just going to color this in. Now, if I want to add another color, a third color, it's okay to do that. So let's add, you know what, let's go a little wild and add a little green in for some accents. Okay. Now, it's just to accent the color as we color along. So again, with the Stampin' Blend, as long as you color within a certain quick amount of time that you've done a little bit, you can mix the colors up. There we go. So it gives it a bit of a different shade and a color. You can't quite tell, but it really does add something. Now I want to add some Wink of Stella to my cupcake, and I'm just going to pat and add that on like sparkly frosting. Okay. Now this card is coming together. Now I'm going to glue these items together. And what's going to happen is I'm going to go from, I'm going to add on to each other. That one doesn't want to work. Let's move on to another one. And we're going to just kind of layer them on each other. Okay. That's all what we're going to do. Hello. And let's add that. There we go. There's our happy birthday. We're going to pop this up on some dimensionals. Okay. And we're going to kind of span that little piece of cardstock that we had going up and down. So right across there to break it up a little bit. And we're going to put our little cupcake on dimensionals too. Now, if you want, you could always pop on some ribbon behind it. It's up to you, totally up to you. So I'm going to pop that on top, just off to the side. Now, because I already did dimensionals and it's very thick, when I look, it looks like that dimensional's not quite touching its the bottom. So I'm going to double it up. I'm going to take two dimensionals, place them together, take them apart. And I want that, because I want that cupcake to sit nice and even. So I'm just going to tuck that in underneath. Oops. And stick that down. So now it is a little bit more secure on the card. So there we go. Let's add a little bit of embellishments. Just here and there. There we go. One up there. And a couple down here. Well, should we go down there? Oh, I never know where to put an embellishment. There we go. There. Oop. There, we'll do 3. There we go. Oh, I guess I could do another one. Ah. Anyways, that is our card for Takeaway Tuesday. I hope you enjoy that. Give this a try with some scraps that you have. Works really well. I love this. I love this. The main idea is actually to show off the paper of this card, not so much as the, say, embossing. I wouldn't emboss it. I want to make it simple. Simple little cupcake. Simple little sentiment, and way big look on the DSP. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that card. And, oh, I wanted to show you. I did another one, kind of like that, using the scraps from the Zoo Crew. And like I said, this paper is a very happy paper and fantastic for birthdays. I just cut this guy out, added some dimensionals, and placed them on top. And I think this looks great. I just love them. Anyways, comment below. Which one do you like? Do you like the happy birthday? Or do you like the celebrate one? Anyways, Thank you for joining me for Takeaway Tuesday, and I will see you next Tuesday right here, 10 o'clock. Take care.